pleasant Tuesday evening, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Mark Henderson here from the Weather Hub. Just wanted to take a couple minutes to chat about the potential for some showers and thunderstorms and a renewed severe weather risk as we go into the latter stages of our Wednesday, and then continuing on into our Wednesday evening. Jury's still out with exactly how this is going to unfold, but there's at least some part of us here that have a concern about the potential for some more active weather as things turn hotter, more humid, more unstable, especially as we get into the latter stages of our day as 90-degree temperatures appear likely to return, allowing the atmosphere to become more charged with energy, which is going to set the tone for a potential severe weather risk as a cold front approaches from the west later on in the day. Let's show you the current radar picture right now. A pretty impressive cluster of showers and thunderstorms stretches from central Nebraska and into eastern portions of South Dakota. Now, that is not a concern for us here tonight. In all likelihood, that activity that you see off to the west would weaken or should weaken considerably as the night goes on, and it should fall apart here before it gets anywhere too close to our particular neck of the woods. It's possible a few of those could sneak into far northwestern Illinois here early tomorrow morning, but overall it shouldn't be a concern. What's going to happen though tomorrow, as this activity starts to kind of fade out, there's still going to be a little upper level disturbance, a little bit of a spin in the atmosphere, which as it continues to traverse eastward could reignite showers and thunderstorms as we start to destabilize the atmosphere here tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. So what we're going to do here right now, we'll turn the satellite and radar picture off right now. We'll turn the model data on. Let's talk about not only the precipitation here, but we'll throw the cloud cover on as well, because I think the cloud cover will also go a long way in determining just how things are going to be playing out here tomorrow afternoon and evening. It's going to be one of those scenarios where, once again, if we see more in the way of sunshine, that increases the risk for some stronger thunderstorms. Well, if we stay cloudy long enough, then we will see that thunderstorm threat muted quite a bit. So here's the picture at 7 o'clock in the morning. We still see those showers and thunderstorms off to the west near Cedar Rapids. Again, they're going to be kind of falling apart here. We'll step through this hour by hour with our precision cast model. And again, that dissipating trend is likely to continue. This is the 8 a.m. picture. And then here we are at 9 o'clock with that dissipating trend continuing. Generally along and south of I-88, could be a couple storms that do linger, but most of this will fall apart before directly impacting the region. Now here we are at 10 o'clock in the morning, still a mostly cloudy sky, but you see some holes starting to be poked in the cloud cover as you get into northwestern Illinois and northeastern Iowa here at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then that hole becomes a little more pronounced over north central Wisconsin or north central Illinois, southwestern and south central Wisconsin. So this is where the atmosphere is really going to start to charge up. And as you can see, some impressive thunderstorms are already likely to begin to ignite here across northeastern Iowa. This is right around the noontime hour. Here we go into 1 o'clock. Most of the activity still staying off to the north and west. And that's good news for us here. But 2 o'clock, that's when we start to think that the initiation may occur here across the northernmost portions of Illinois, right along the Wisconsin border. 3 o'clock, these cells starting to coalesce into more of an organized line as it traverses eastward, basically lining up right along the I-39 corridor. Now, anytime you see these isolated cells, this is when we concern ourselves with the possibility of rotating storms. While the wind shear or the changing wind direction with height in the atmosphere, not overly impressive, but I do think there may be enough to support at least some broad rotation, maybe enough to get us a brief, weak spin-up tornado here or there, along with torrential heavy downpours and gusty winds. But we don't see that linear structure really start to evolve until we get closer to 4, 5, 6 o'clock as the storms are passing by to the east, which would indicate maybe a higher severe weather threat closer to the Chicago area, and then over southern portions of Lake Michigan, maybe into southeastern Wisconsin as well. But I will kind of quantify or qualify it with this. This is just one model and just one run of one model, which suggests the threat may be just a little bit farther to the east. I'm going to take us back here to 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to switch this to a different high resolution forecast model. And we're going to play it out over that very similar time here from 7 a.m. until about 6 or 7 p.m. There again, here at 7 a.m. are the storms that we see just to the west of Cedar Rapids. Those are the storms that we saw in the radar picture off to the west here tonight over eastern portions of Nebraska, stretching into southeastern South Dakota. Again, those storms likely to kind of fizzle out here. This is the 8 o'clock picture. And now we'll fast forward another hour to 9 o'clock. One thing I want to point out is the thinner cloud cover that's already expected over the state line at that point in time, which may mean that the atmosphere will have more time, according to this model, to see the sunshine go to work on the atmosphere and kind of start to destabilize things. This, I'm going to tell you, is the more ominous of the two models from a severe weather standpoint here locally across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Still quiet here at 11 o'clock, but notice a partly cloudy sky, and where we see the cloud cover, it's not all that thick. It's going to be just filtering the sunshine from time to time. The longer we stay quiet here in the day, the more it gives the atmosphere enough time to charge up with that energy, which could lead to some rather hostile storm development as we get into the afternoon. Now, 1 o'clock, you start to see a few of those cells showing up across southern Wisconsin. Nothing too worrisome. Also some cells showing up over southeastern Iowa. But then by the time we get to 2, 3 o'clock, we're going to watch this area right here, eastern Iowa, basically right along the Mississippi River. That's where we start to see some initiation take place. If the initiation takes place there, that's a bad case scenario for us here in the state line. Because watch what happens now as we get to 3 o'clock. You have numerous discrete cells. And again, those are the ones that oftentimes have the capability of rotating, basically lining up at that stage in the game from Joe Davis County through Carroll and then Whiteside counties. Now, eventually there will be an evolution toward more of a bowing structure, a more solid structure of storms. Eventually this will coalesce into a rather significant and well-organized line of storms, according to this model, which will be more conducive to some widespread gusty winds across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. So here's the picture of 5 o'clock. The best organized activity may hold off until it gets just off to the east, which again, that would be okay. But this model certainly it kind of shows a little bit more of an ominous scenario for us. Now, neither model shows a doom and gloom scenario. Neither model shows a really great severe weather setup, but both of them show at least some severe weather setup. And the Storm Prediction Center, I think, has the very right idea with regard to the severe weather risk for tomorrow. And they put the entire area under a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe weather. This means that storms that do occur will likely become severe, although they won't be necessarily across the entirety of that yellow circled area. They may be a little bit more scattered. I think off to the east of Interstate 39 is where we see the better chance of more organized showers and thunderstorms, more of that solid linear structure, which could lead to more widespread gusty winds. But storms, at least in these parts, may be a little bit more scattered, which means they could still pack a punch, just a little bit more selective in nature. Before we come to an end here, let's just talk about the actual so this is what we call the categorical threat, which means level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But let's talk about some of the more specific threats, and we'll start with large hail. And as you can see, the hail threat is essentially nil across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. That doesn't mean there won't be hail. It just means that any hail will likely stay below severe characteristics. And you need hail to be a quarter in size, an inch in diameter, the size of a quarter. Tornado risk, not a big one, but it is a small but non-zero risk for tornadoes. I'd say about 2% for a tornado, anywhere within that green shaded circle. Any of these tornadic storms, if they do turn tornadic, wouldn't produce large and particularly damaging tornadoes. They would be more of the weak spin-up variety tornadoes, but still something that we need to be cognizant of. Then as far as the wind, that is going to be the main story. And you can see the entire region highlighted in that level 2. Again, the slight risk for winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. I could see some 70-mile-per-hour gusts. And then especially as you head farther east, closer to Lake Michigan, those could go into the 70 and 80 mile per hour range. But it really it depends on when the initiation of that activity occurs and when this coincides with the peak heating of the day. Once we get to 4 or 5 o'clock, where will those storms be? Wherever those storms are at 4, 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and evening, that's where we may see the more organized threat for severe thunderstorms. So that's how we see things playing out here right now. We'll continue to keep you abreast of the situation here from the Weather Hub as more details become available. Have some graphical updates here throughout the course of our Wednesday as well, especially as any new information does come to us from our friends either at the Storm Prediction Center or from the National Weather Service. So that's it for us for now. We appreciate you joining us here from the Weather Hub. Always a pleasure to be with you here, and thank you for your continued support now and moving forward. Have a great night, stay safe, and be weather aware tomorrow.